Oh, there's nothing funnier than what's going on with the Browns. Let's just say that right now. Deshaun Watson, Myles Garrett finally requesting a trade. We don't even know if that's the case right now, if it's actually going to go down. I will say this right now. A team that I would like to see Myles Garrett in would be New England. Back to Cleveland. Back to Cleveland, where they allow massage parlor. Myles Garrett has finally had enough of Cleveland. He's dealt with the Baker Mayfield versus Odell daddy issue. He's dealt with the massage parlor, Deshaun Watson. I mean, this guy's been through enough as of late with the Browns organization. Just disappointing season after disappointing season after disappointing season. Myles Garrett finally, after 8 seasons, has said, Cleveland, I love you to death, but look, I can't stay here much longer if we're not serious about contending for a Super Bowl. So there's a lot of options out there for Cleveland to send him if it's either before the draft or during the draft. But one in particular organization I really have an intrigue about is New England. Cleveland could ask for so much for New England right now.
Yeah.
Like New England's first round pick, New England's next year's second round, maybe a second round this season and next year's first round. Who knows?
I mean, to be fair, that makes sense the more I think about it because Cleveland needs every first round pick they're going to get. Let me tell you, man, Cleveland has not been in the top 3 of their division since, like, I don't know, fucking 20, I don't know. I don't even think the 2010s.
2019 with Baker.
That was
or 2020. It was 2020 when they went to the playoffs, right?
It was 2020. You're right about that. But that's like, dude, 2 years out of a whole fucking decade, bro. You've been sitting at the bottom. The Bengals, at their worst, were better than you.
Yeah, right now.
That's not good. I think like the AFC North, the conference that I know all the fuck about, dude, they have been sitting at the bottom of the barrel for the better part of a decade.
Drizzly shit.
I will say that. Yeah.
Yeah. Take that to the fucking dog pound, Cleveland. But
I don't know, man.
Another trade rumor came up in Los Angeles. Well, it's more like looking more and more like a reality at this point. Cooper Kupp, who is a fantastic receiver, fragile but fantastic, very good technician as a receiver, was the receiver number 1 for a good bit, getting hurt. Puka Nacua took his place as of this year, and now the Rams have informed him that he will possibly be traded. So more than likely, that's going to be a draft trade right there for the Rams. Possibly going to try to go after a receiver like a Luther Burton, maybe a Matthew Golden, maybe, or possibly an offensive lineman for Matthew Stafford, or maybe on the defensive side of the ball. But what I like to see, and hear me out, I would love to see Myles Garrett in a Rams uniform. Kind of fill that void for Aaron Donald.
Yeah.
The only difference is Aaron Donald was on the inside. You're going to get Myles Garrett and Jared Verse on the outside. And then possibly, you'll have a damn good 3 technique there for LA. You might get a 0 technique there as well. I am just excited to see how these two trade rumors are going to go down. JMO, how would you feel if, say, Cooper Kupp goes to Pittsburgh? I know you and I already talked about it. Kind of explain it to the audience that's watching right now.
So that's like, I don't know. That's a more realistic, like, I think right now that is realistically where he'll end up, because the Pittsburgh Steelers, they don't need a quarterback. We've already got Mr. Rooney's already said that he's going to pick between Russell Wilson or Justin Fields to be the starter, right? So he's already said his piece about what his intentions are. Now, that doesn't mean we're not going to pick up a quarterback late, but I don't think that's the number one priority for the Steelers. I think the Steelers are going to try to make out, right, with a number one rated receiver or a top rated receiver if they can. Either way they can go about it, right? Or actually, no. I think that's the only way that needs to go. I think they need to go for a top-rated receiver and then go for a lower-tier quarterback. And that's why a lot of people are speculating that Jaden Milroe is going to go ahead and go to the Steelers. But I think they're going to pick up a wide receiver. Now, who that's going to be, anybody's guess. But I also think that Cooper Kupp is going to fit into that scheme well. I think he's going to fit into what Pittsburgh is trying to do, especially if they select Fields as a starter. Now, Russ, send my piece on Russ, man, and a lot of news just came out about Russ and Art button heads, but I honestly still think Russ is not the guy. I think Justin Fields should absolutely be the guy. He's got everybody on that offense's blessing. So we need to get rid of Pickens. We need to get Russ out. And we need to get Fields in, and we need to get a good receiver such as Kupp. So I think right now the Steelers are in the process of prioritizing receivers over any other position. Also, another thing that we talked about, TJ, and did you ever get the name for the Penn State tight end that was
Tyler Warren?
Tyler Warren. So I think the Steelers. Now this wasn't super high up. I think it was like number 3 on their priority list. But I think that him giving Freiermuth or having Freiermuth on the offense, and then having another target such as Tyler Warren to throw to, that's gonna be incredible, man. That's gonna be incredible for the Steelers to make out, dude. Like, yeah, I think that's gonna be a great result for the Steelers. And I honestly, I think that'll be best case scenario. I would rather see a good tight end, because remember, I mean, Ben, he had a big target to throw to in Heath Miller. And Freiermuth has stepped up in a big way, but when you have 2 tight ends that you could throw to, you can do a lot more, man. You can do a lot more. You can run a lot more sets. You can increase the potency of your running game. Man, I think it's a smart.
But yeah, I think it'd be interesting to see Cooper Kupp also with Detroit.
Oh,
that would create an opening for.
Earlier, that's for sure. We talked about.
Yeah, I didn't really fully explain it to you either. The reason why I would love Cooper Kupp over there at Detroit is for the simple fact that I would love to see a opening for Amon-Ra St. Brown or Sam Laporta, maybe Jahmyr Gibbs out in the open. Cooper Kupp is such a good technician at receiver. He finds ways to get other receivers open, and also is a definitely great number 2 receiver. He's not a number 1 anymore, but he's a definite number 2 receiver. He can play the slot and just create opening. And another team that me and Jamo were kind of talking about was the Kansas City Chiefs, how he could be chasing for a ring at this point. Not saying that he wouldn't be chasing a ring for the Steelers or the Lions, but an easier path would be the Chiefs, because you got Patrick Mahomes, DeAndre Hopkins, Xavier Worthy, who's a young blood that's making a splash in the NFL right now, especially late in the playoffs. Travis Kelce, if he doesn't retire after the Super Bowl and marry Taylor Swift. I mean, that could be another good stop for Cooper Kupp. Another good stop, honestly, this may come to surprise you, J-Mo. I would love to see him play underneath Pete Carroll in the Vegas Raiders. I would love to see how.
We're still on Cooper Kupp.
Yeah.
Why do you think he would fit in with Vegas? I don't see that for one reason, but I want to know your reasoning before I get.
Well, it's not necessarily a scheme fit. It's more like a leadership role with Cooper Kupp. I feel like that the Raiders actually need a true leader and a guy that loves football, not some guy that jumps on a podcast and talks football and then underachieves, kind of like Micah Parsons and Max Crosby.